Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. I'm so happy to be here for this amazing book launch of The Infinity Wave with my good friend, Hope Fitzgerald. Hope, thanks so much for being here. And I'm really looking forward to this book and what you have to say about it. So, Hope is a spiritual teacher. She teaches Dowsing. She came up with this Infinity Wave as a vision, as a message to the planet. And this is really her going public with this incredible, I'd say, spiritual technology that we can all benefit from. So, Hope, come on and let's hear about the book.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for hosting us today and helping us to put all this together. I mean, I'm just blown away by all of you being here, and it is a complete honor to be able to share this labor of love. I'm telling you, it's this is my only copy. It's pretty slender, but I don't think there are any wasted words. I'll tell you that. I went through it with a fine-tooth comb and cut out any bit of fat there was. So I want to I have a million thank yous. Okay. I need to thank, besides Alan, we have a little dog here who is adorable and has to say hello to everybody. So that's what you're hearing in the background. I want to say again, thank you to Alan, who's really grown to be a dear friend over the years. And thank you to the team who helped me make this happen. And that is Jenny and Mindy and Monica, who I'm not sure is here today, but Jenny and Mindy have just lifted me up and propelled me forward, and it's really made this happen. So thank you, my dears. And they did all that social media, all kinds of things that I have not been able to do by myself all these years. So those are two big thank yous. I also need to thank my dear husband, Jim Sexton. Without him, none of this would be possible. And he's given me, as I write in my acknowledgments, the space to be able to create. And sometimes kicking my butt just a little, and sometimes giving me, the ability to go out and write from somewhere else, somewhere quiet. And to that end, I want to thank all my dear friends who have offered me places to stay while I could chunk down bits and bits of this project. And I'll tell you, I did not want, as some of you know, I did not want to write a book at all. I wrote it at the insistence of my guide team, who I listen to and pretty much do whatever they say. But I was nervous because some of the things that I'm talking about in here just expose me as the woo-woo that I am. And so not everybody knows that part about me. So I had kind of kept it, in a sidetrack for most of my life. Because when I became a woo-woo at a very young age, it was not yet acceptable to speak of such things without getting a lot of eyeball rolls. So I went underground and I kept going and I kept learning, but I kept it quiet. And then in 2010, I had a really tough year. A lot of horrible things happened in my family. And at the end of it, by September, I was completely wrung out. I was, all the tanks, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, were on empty. And I knew that I would be susceptible, excuse me, I have an eye infection, so that's why I'm doing this. I would be susceptible to getting sick myself. And so I went on a sound healing retreat with Tom Kenyon. He did, the only time he's ever done this, he had back-to-back each weekend. And I was able to really undo a lot of my conditioning. I went in there like a warrior. I was determined to what I always say is clean my inner bowl, scrape this bowl clean of all story, of all identity, really. And it was an incredible process that maybe someday I will write about, but I came out very different. I came out not really not identifying at all. I always say you could have called me any name and I would have answered, because I was pretty empty. It was felt amazing and I loved it. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I could just stay like this, I'm going to be a happy camper. But that's not what happened. 3 days later, I was sitting with my dear friend Jan Seward, who is here and has been literally with me on this ride from day one, which happened in my living room that day. I was walking across my living room, and all of a sudden, in front of me was this gigantic, gorgeous turquoise wave. It was like 10 stories high. It was huge, and it didn't feel threatening, but it was moving towards me. I'm not a vision girl. This never happened to me in the past. So I thought, okay, what is this? I mean, with the naivete of, oh, there's something in front of me. What do you know? And underneath the wave, there was a kind of almost like a ticker tape that said, this wave represents a push of evolution that is coming to the planet, and it will be kind of swirling around the planet during 2011 and anchoring in at the end of the year. And before I could even react to that, the wave turned on its side and made a giant curling letter C, the kind of tunnel that a surfer would go through. And it was kind of paused in that letter C. And the byline for this was, as the seawater pulls away from the shore and deepens into the sea bed, so should you, meaning all of us, I've found out, but for me, leave all your book learning on the shore, leave it over there, and go to the earth, go to the wisdom keepers of the earth, that's where I should go for my knowledge. And then the water in the letter C started to move down, but instead of just falling into the water, it created this standing figure eight made of flowing water, which is represented here. And there was no byline with that. There was no explanation whatsoever. And I was relating all of this, of course, to Jan, and looking pretty stunned. I never did find out what it probably looked like as I was stumbling around the living room, but this figure eight made of flowing water hung out in front of my forehead. I couldn't see it with my physical eyes, but I almost could, but I could clearly see it in another way. And I'd never had that experience before. And it hung out there for about 3 days and there was no explanation. So as Alan said, I'm a dowser. So I by that point, I'd been dowsing for 15 years or so. And I sat down with my trusty dowsing rods and I said, what the heck is this thing? And that's when I was told, and just to kind of encapsulate it, this, for lack of another name, is called the infinity wave. It represents an energy, a 10th dimensional energy that is love and compassion in that watery flow. This is an energy tech tool that has been sent to us by a loving universe to help us through the challenging times that are ahead. And of course, in 2010, this is now November, we had no idea what kinds of challenging times would be ahead, but it just seemed like it was something that we could use. I didn't really know. I'm like, how do I use this image of a figure eight of flowing water? Anyway, the guides told me that I should start teaching about it in January. And I said, well, I really don't know what I would teach because I don't know what the heck it is. And they said, well, go ahead and book a room and we'll fill you in. And I did not want to do this. as I said, I kept my spirituality pretty private. By that point, I had been blessed to have a regular group come on Monday mornings for meditation. And we had been doing that for a couple of years already. And so I did have a place to share some of this information and and start to play with it a little bit. But I really didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I have to also, in my thank yous, thank that Monday meditation group, because some of them are here right now, Susan and Barbara and Jan. We had a container, and that was, I think, a crucial piece of letting this wave come forward, because I was in a container of beautiful souls. And so anywho, Jan and I got together once a week starting in January, leading up to the workshop at the end of the month. And I got out my dowsing rods because I had no idea what I was going to teach, but I didn't know what this thing was. And I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified to get up in front of anybody and teach something. I've taught a lot of things, but I know something about those things. You know, I've been a director, but I've been in the front a lot of times, but it's usually because I know a little bit about what I'm doing. To be asked to fly blindly and stand up in front of people and talk knowledgeably, it was terrifying. I was being pushed. I had made a request of the universe that I move from believing to knowing, that there be a way that I could take all the books on my bookshelf, all the experiences I had, all of that stuff, and have an in-person inner experience that would bring me into gnosis with the all that is, whatever you have, whatever your name is for that, source, universe, you name it. So I had asked for that, but I didn't expect that I was going to have to be so vulnerable, so exposed, so blind, trusting in order to really take a step off the cliff. And the beautiful thing about it, and this is one of my big whys for writing this book, is that we can't know that the universe is going to catch us unless we fall. And most of us, and I'm putting myself in this camp, I didn't realize how clinging to the reality that I had, even though it was a pretty out there reality, it was still a reality. And I couldn't explore beyond that unless I was willing to fall into something unknown. And that's something that I encourage people to do with the infinity wave, because in the safety of the wave, in the safety of the flow of love and compassion, much more is possible than just doing it the hard way like I did. And so Jan and I would sit down once a week. I'd get my rods out and she would scribe whatever came out of my mouth. And what started to happen was these strange voices started to come out of my mouth. Very deep voices, slow voices. And these practices would just spill out. It was not my language. It was not nothing about it was me. I would see the words dropping down through my forehead. And every now and then, if a word came that I didn't really like, I'd try to push it over, but it would pop right back. And then I realized that each word had a resonance, had a purpose. It was specific, that word followed the word before it. And so I had never really trusted channeling before, but then all of a sudden here I am with all these things happening, and I've I had to review my thoughts on that. I reached out to some friends, and they incredibly agreed to come on that first weekend. And the first workshop was 3 weekends, one in January, one in February, one in March. And I see there's some people here. One of my friends that I haven't seen in a long time, Alan, is here, who was in that first group. There are others who are here that were in that first group. And we really, and my friend Cynthia, who is here, my dear friend Cynthia, Barbara and Susan were there, and we just went on this journey. And I had pulled some of my information from being in Scotland at Findhorn many years before about evolution, because I was supposedly teaching about spiritual evolution. I'd never really thought about that before. And we all just learned all at the same time. And so I would give these practices that came one per week, and I'd play my big crystal bowls, and we kind of took off into another place. And we had many mystical experiences during that first 3 months, and each time I would sit down for the new month, and I get 3 new practices, one per week. So by the end, I looked back and there were 9 practices, and I realized the step-by-step process that we were being guided through was an evolutionary leap. Each person, and I tell me if I'm wrong, folks who were there, but people who were going to get divorced didn't get divorced. People who didn't have jobs got jobs. Like, things changed, faces changed. Everybody's joy went up. And I was still sitting back a little bit with, like, the scientists, like, is this experiment really going to hold water? You know, are we going to feel good at this good going forward? And it seemed that we did. And we repeated the experiment 2 more times. So by September, I was pretty convinced that we were dealing with something revolutionary, evolutionary. So that sort of set the stage. And then my guidance had said, this is meant for the whole wide world. And at the time, I was living in a very rural place next to a sheep farm. Didn't know how to really do anything but email. I mean, like, how the heck am I going to do that? And they said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. So by December that year, I met at a party in California. I met a woman who was at that time the #1 internet interview platform called Healing with the Masters, and her name was Jennifer McLean, and I am forever grateful to her, because we sat and talked, and she said, you know, you have one of the keys to the new age, don't you? And I said, no. And she said, well, I want to work with you. And that's how that happened. I got launched with her, and then many shows after. So that is, some of that is told in the first chapter here, that story, but it's all bringing me around to the why. The why I finally had, when they told me to write the book 10 years ago, and I didn't want to, the why is that this is meant for the wide world. I am not I'm just a deliverer of this. I'm not special. I made myself available. I put in my 10,000 hours, as they say, you know, without knowing what the heck was happening or going on. And it's for you. It's for all of us. Because if we can stay in this flow of love and compassion, and it's not just love and compassion as we have here on planet Earth, it's a very refined love and compassion. It's almost like a crystal glass. Like, it's so refined that there's no emotion with it. And that's unusual. We're not used to that, because we're used to feeling everything. That's what we do here on Earth. But this is so refined. But when you bring it in and you use the wave to wave yourself or somebody else, or a rock or a tree or the world or whatever you want to wave, it can grow to any size, you can sense a lightening of yourself. It comes in and it just lightens everything. And so I think we're all moving forward in an evolutionary sense. And if we have tools, and this is just one of many, but if we have tools to help us along, especially when things get bumpy, we have something we can go, okay, I'm just going to put myself back in the wave. I'm going to put the wave in my heart. I'm going to wave that person who's struggling. It just changes the dynamic. We know there's such a thing as quantum physics. We know there is, truth now that, when the butterfly flaps its wings on the other side of the world, there is a relationship to us. This is now proven. So when we take the water in us, the 90 whatever percent water that we are, and we douse ourselves with the water of this love and compassion, our molecules change. We restructure ourselves, literally. And it makes us more available to flow as opposed to resistance. Because with all the changes that we have been dealing with and have yet to come, I don't know, and there's no human earthly way to deal with them better, in my mind, than to stay in love and compassion. So that's why I wrote it. I wrote it to get it out to the world. It is skinny. It's skinny so it can tuck in your suitcase or your purse or what have you. And, it's very readable. It's only like 85 pages. It's like nobody can't read this. I've written it for the experienced person, energy worker, and I've written it for the beginner. That was one of the reasons it took a long time to write. So I'm going to stop now because I've been blabbing a long time, and I want to offer the opportunity for anybody who has experienced the wave, used the wave in their lives, to just share a little bit. If you have a story about that, we'd all love to hear it. Anybody feeling brave?
I'm going to start because I was in the room where it happened, like they say in Hamilton, the room where it happened. So I'm a psychologist, and one of the things that I've seen, if anyone else is a psychotherapist or participates in psychotherapy, what's really the most remarkable shift in these last 13 years since Hope was channeling the wave and we were experimenting and understanding its uses is the dysregulation of the nervous system. That has really been a very robust clinical challenge and directly having to do with the chaotic nature of the times we're in and the shift that we're all going through. So I've been using the wave to help people become regulated, and I use it as a tool in my practice. I teach the wave. I encourage people to use it for themselves and also to use it in relationship with others. And then also when people are wondering what they can actually do for, the times that we're living in, I teach the wave. So I'm very excited, Hope, because we can actually buy books today, right? You want us to go online to any particular place? Because I'm going to buy, you want pies? I'm going to bring you 10 pies. I'm going to buy 10 books and I'm going to send them to my patients so that now they have their primer for doing this work. So yeah.
Awesome, Jan. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. And I have to say, my dear friend, okay, the goal here is to try to get to bestseller today, because then you get to put that on your book, and that's kind of a big fun thing. But the other goal here is that I am giving some proceeds from the book sales today to these wonderful children in Nepal that I've been introduced to through my friend Clint, who is here. And Mindy and I were on a trip last year, or was this year? God, it feels. anyway, we went to Nepal, we met these beautiful children, and I'm particularly interested in helping the ones who are aging out of the orphanages and into their young adult lives. And at the present, they have no support system to help make that happen. They just sort of leave the orphanage, having been in this hive of 30 brothers and sisters, and suddenly they're not. And I don't like that. So I'm not alone. There are others who are interested in building a kind of bridge for them. So some of the proceeds from the book sales today, if not all of them, I haven't dowsed for how much, but it's going to be a significant amount, probably 50% will be going to those children. So anything you buy today will help them, and I will be so grateful to you, because they're beautiful and they deserve a life. So that's great. Thank you, Jan. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to share a story? Come on now. I know you've all used it. Barbara?
Congratulations. I'm so excited for you and for the world. And I know how hard it was for you to share this, but now it's time. So I've had some wonderful personal experiences with the wave and with Jan and Susan and some other people in this group. From the very beginning, very beginning, when you were questioning, what is this? And we all trusted you and we trusted it. And I've gone to a lot of places using the wave. When we meditated for all of those years, some of my most powerful experiences were from that time that gave me the ability to trust that that I was connected to the universe in a very different way that I had known. I always kind of dabbled with things, but when something comes so strongly, it really reinforces the truth. So I really appreciate that part of using the wave more than anything, I think, because it gave me the ability to go to places that I had never thought were really possible. So I thank you for that.
Barbara. Well, we were all in that boat together, and you know, we've all grown a tremendous amount as a result of that togetherness. I'm grateful as well. So thank you. And thank you for your help in talking me through how to get it published. You know, I ended up finding a publisher. Her name is Sue Erda, and I just want to give a shout out to her because she did a beautiful job. She and her helper, Kathy, put it all together for me, and they did a great job. So anyway, thank you very much. And I'm still learning. Yeah, Susan. Can't hear you, babe.
I'm muted. Okay. I wasn't prepared to tell the whole story, but now that you've opened up the memory train, I will say one thing that has been an everlasting, beautiful use for the wave. Of course, it has taught me how to meditate and stay centered. So as the drawing I did many years ago, it connects my heart to heaven and earth, but it also helps myself. And many times I invoke this for clients because I'm a hypnotherapist, to connect with those who you feel something is off. There's a conflict, or you said the wrong words, or you want to build a bridge with someone and they're not physically near you. You can use this beautiful wave of love and compassion and send it wherever it's needed and change the very nature of that relationship to more love and flow. And that is magical.
That's beautifully shared. And, you know, I can't tell you on that topic how many times I've heard people say, well, I'm not speaking to so-and-so, or I've had this problem with so-and-so, and I decided to waive them. And the next day they wrote me or they called me, because that change agent is happening, even though we can't necessarily see it, touch it, feel it. It's a connector. It can be a connector in the most beautiful way, and work behind the scenes. You know, that's what I love. It's working even when we're not fully, aware. You just send it out. You don't have to keep thinking about it. You don't have to keep, it's going to start working and stay working as long as you set it up. So it's quite, I have tons of stories, and some of them are in the book, of miraculous things that have happened with the wave, and happened in a nanosecond. People changing their perspective, people starting out nasty and becoming, oh, okay, I'm going to tell one quick story. This is a good one. It's not in the book. Okay. Couple of years ago, I took a group to Ireland, and afterwards there was a 5-day add-on trip to Wales. And so all through Ireland, I was teaching the wave. We were using the wave. I love to go to these ancient sites, these stones and all these beautiful places, and be in wave energy while I'm there, and receive information, give information, whatever it is. You can connect with these ancient places much more beautifully, easily with the wave. So anyway, we finish Ireland, we go on to Wales, and we had this day in Wales in mid to late October. I mean, it was 70 degrees. It was sunny. It was absolutely gorgeous. So in Wales, you can have 45 or even colder and snowing. I mean, you can have anything in Wales. So mid-October. So to have a day like this was just incredible. Well, we ended up pulling over for tea, as one does in Wales, at 4:00 into this roadside kind of little combination of little shops and little restaurants, very tiny little places amongst the trees. And I was driving a minivan, which Wales has roads that are about this big. So I was, pretty much one of the biggest vehicles on the road, and driving on the other side of the road, of course, also. So anyway, just setting you up, because I pulled in and I'm looking for, it's very crowded. Everybody's out on their motorcycles. Everybody's out that day. It's a Sunday. And I see a parking spot, and it is next to a parking spot that has a couple of antique, completely done over Harley Davidsons. Okay. And they are gorgeous. I mean, they've got the leather tassels, they've got the paint jobs, they've got a big helmet that matches the bike, and the helmet's, on the handlebars. And I am so careful bringing this cruise ship, into this little parking space, because the parking spaces are made for their little cars. Anyway, I'm going very, very carefully, inches at a time, get in. And then we hear a little something. And I stopped the car. And I said, did I hit something? No, I think you're okay. So we go a little further, and then I park, put it in park. And we when we opened that slide door, it turns out that the guy's helmet was right next to it. So when the door opened, it actually did touch the helmet, and probably did on the way in, but very minutely. Well, the next thing we know, standing at our door are these guys, these gnarly guys with, the beards with the pom-poms in them, and they are pissed off. And this one guy said, I'm gonna sue you. You know, you bumped my helmet. Like, oh, and we've just come off this fairy mountain where we had this amazing meditation surrounded by moss, and you know, we were so high. There's this guy with this mad face, and I didn't know what to say. I said, well, I'm so sorry. He goes, and you're American on top of it. I was like, well, I was trying to be so careful. And what I didn't know was the other gals in the car immediately started waving the man. I didn't know this. And I said, well, let me see if is there damage, you know, what can I possibly do? And then we watched him go from red hot glowing like face, and it just started to melt. And it's melted and melted and melted until, I don't know, 5 minutes later, he's like, you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just out, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it was gone. Well, that wasn't the end, because we all went over and we got our little table to have our tea, and got our tea and sat down, and we started to lean in to each other and say, can you believe what just happened? They said we were waving him like crazy. He just went from 10 to 0 in no time at all. And I said, you know, we were laughing about the wave, and the next thing you know, he shows up at our table. He has bought us the special biscuits that his mother buys him. And he just wanted us to have some of these biscuits with our tea. And by the end of the thing, we were best friends. It was so fabulous. And that's just a cute little story about what can happen. But it can be much deeper than that. But it's fast. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And you don't have to manufacture these feelings of love and compassion, because I wasn't feeling very loving and compassionate in that moment. But it's there, and it's doing the work for you. And I know it seems like, how is that even possible? But it is, and it does. So let's see. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add to this, or questions they'd like to ask?
Yeah, I probably should weigh in here a little bit.
Oh, here comes the husband.
I didn't realize I was going to be on camera today, so I didn't call hair and makeup in. But well, welcome to your coming out party, and it's so great that everybody's here. And having whistled through the wave yard with you for these many years, and having sort of swinging like Tarzan through the trees, catching vines as we go. It's just so great to see this day for you, and may this be the beginning of your complete coming out and utter unraveling. And because there ain't much time left in this planet, so we might as well just go for it, right? So God bless you. Wonderful day for you. I'm so happy to see this day come for you. And this is just the beginning of more and more great things to come. So congratulations, my dear. I love you very much.
Oh,
Thank you, honey. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Oh, man. I love you too. And thank you for everything, how you supported me in every way. Thank you. You know, it was actually something Jim said one time when he was actually a little upset with me. that really was the gauntlet that got thrown down. He said, this is after probably 7 years of this, I'm supposed to finish my book. He goes, you're never going to finish that book. Oh, yeah. and that was probably the thing that has stuck in my craw this whole time. So thank you for all the ways in which you helped make this happen. I appreciate it.
It may have been like a COVID moment or something. I don't know.
Oh, whatever. It was what I needed. I needed it, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Anyway, on you go.
Okay. Well, I thought I thought I would. Well, first of all, my dear friend Gary could not be here today. After all, he is on a plane, and so he wanted to be here very much, but we do have Gary's music, and so I just want to also throw out a big thank you to him. Gary, well, Gary and I became friends a number of years ago, and it has led us into various places, and one of which was working on a play, which has grown into quite a incredible musical with dear friend Lisa Raffel, who is here today, and she and Gary have been working on this a long time. I'm kind of the back person in the back room, as a sounding board for them, and so I've watched this go through its many iterations and seen how they have just stuck to this vision that they've had to get this play done. And it's a wonderful, wonderful show. And so we're hoping to get it launched next year sometime. So that is one way that I got connected with Gary. But when things got really close for me with Gary was when we all went into lockdown. And when we went into lockdown, I was right here on this property with my dear friend Barbara, living in her cottage with Jim and another friend. And we sort of went through it together. And I was trying to figure out, my different people I saw online were making masks and doing things and figuring out ways to serve the community. And I don't know what I could possibly do. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I can do meditations. And because I had all these meditations from the workshops, and by then many years of workshops, and I thought, okay, I'll just do infinity wave meditations. So I started not Monday morning meditation, but Monday night meditations for free, and I couldn't play the bowls because, as Cynthia knows, and anybody else who plays crystal bowls, they don't necessarily come through very well on Zoom. Then they don't have the impact, the resonance that you really want from them. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just use some of Gary's music because he had offered that to me. So that's what I did. And I, until that time, had never been comfortable channeling in person. And I did my channeling behind the scenes, and then I would bring it forward to share. It just didn't, it felt whatever. That's what felt right for me. Well, what do you know? I started doing my meditations with Gary's music, and Gary's music just opened me up in ways that were subtle. So by the third month, I found that these words were coming out of my mouth that weren't mine. And I thought, okay, this is happening, but I didn't resist it, and on we went. And it wasn't until a few months later that all of a sudden this group announced themselves as a galactic group that was working with us. And I realized I had been channeling for most of the time, thanks to Gary's music, I think. I mean, it settles me and it opens me. And now we're hand in hand. I hear his music and I start to go. It's kind of tough unless I'm, sitting in the right spot. But it's beautiful. And by the way, he is found on wisdomoftheworld.com. And I will do a meditation today before we go. Yeah, I will. I'm going to do a short one. And by this point, and thank you for all. If you have to go ahead. This is just a house party. Just come and go as you need to. And thank you for anybody who has to leave. So I will do a meditation towards the end. Okay. So I wanted to just make sure that you knew that would happen and that Gary is acknowledged. Now, there's a couple other things I want to bring up here. The other thing about what Gary and I have worked on, I'm just going to mention it, is something called You Awake, and you can look it up at you-awake.com. These are a series of workshops that we're doing to help people get back to joy, basically. We have 3 different kinds. One is called Graceful Passages. That's about healing from grief, working through grief and getting to the other side. Another one is You Awake, as I mentioned. That's our sort of flagship program. That's going through a 4-step process to get back to that joy quotient that has sort of been drummed out of us over the last few years. And we need to reawaken to it. So we have some tools, and so far with the workshops that we've done, they have really made a difference, or so the people say. The other thing I mentioned, that I did this trip to Ireland. I do trips once a year to wherever I am guided to go. And I'm guided through my dowsing rods quite often. We were just in Scotland in September, had a fabulous trip there, had the most perfect summer weather in a country that never has perfect summer weather. And we had 10 days of it. It didn't start to rain until the afternoon that we were finishing and leaving. So we just had a magical time. I have a YouTube presentation on that trip if you're interested, as well as other trips that I've done. This year, or next year, what I'm guided to do is a 3.5-day retreat in Mount Shasta for the Lion's Gate, which is August 8th. But next year, 2024 adds up to 8. It is an 888. And so we have to be together. I'm tired of just seeing people in little squares on my computer. I want to be together. I want us to feel what that's like, to hug one another, to wave one another, to be with the rocks, the stars, the trees, the energy of Mount Shasta, which is incredible. So think about that. If you're interested in that, you can sign up on my website and stay tuned. I send out something once a week, a blog of some sort, and then I offer, Monday night meditations. Most of them are free. So I'd love to have you, just love to have you. So come ahead. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is dowsing. And I thought it would be fun to do 2 things. First of all, these are my little baby traveling dowsing rods. You can see them. They're shaped like L's, okay? And so I'll just, for those of you who don't know what dowsing is, I'll ask them to please show me a yes, and they come together, and then please show me a no, and they go apart. So I use dowsing, I've been doing this now for 25 years, to help people with transitions in their lives or answer questions. It can be something mundane. I've helped people figure out which apartment they should get and how much to bargain for, and all things like practical things like that. And then I help people with big life questions. And many of you on this call have had sessions. What's beautiful about it is that in half an hour, we can really get to the nugget of something and get through it very, very quickly. So it's not a big investment, and but it's information straight from the universe. And when I douse, it opens my channel to the universe, and that's the information that comes through. So that's one thing. But I wanted to douse for if there's a page in the book that it would be most appropriate to read to you all today. Okay, so is there a page in the book, in the Infinity book here, that would be in the highest good of all who are gathered here for me to read today? Yes, there is. All right, so I'm going to try to do this quickly. Is it in the first 10 pages? Oh, Yes. Okay. Is it, that's easy. Is it page number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Well, let's see what page 6 is. This is fun. Oh, do I start from the foreword? Let's see. Page 6. Okay, well, I was telling you the story about how I would sit down with Jan and those initial practices would come through. So this is just a little more detail about that. It says, during these transmissions, I noticed that at times my doubting human mind wanted to intercept and rearrange the wording. Talk about control, right? But something kept holding me out of the way so that the language would be expressed purely. I had never considered myself a channeler, but now I slowly began to accept this as part of a new identity. These transmissions or downloads ultimately became the foundational infinity wave meditations, known as the original practices. These weekly communications continued throughout the initial 3 months of weekend workshops and beyond. Since these channel practices often referred to humanity's evolution, oh, I know why they want me to read it. It occurred to me to add the word conscious in front of it. Though I couldn't see the full landscape at the time, I sensed we were heading into a paradigm in which each person would be carefully curating their own spiritual progression with newfound mindfulness. Wondering if I was the only one with this idea, I searched the internet for conscious evolution and found only one entry from visionary Barbara Marx Hubbard, though her interpretation of the term was entirely different from what I was gleaning. It seems odd now that we were ever without this concept, given the ubiquitousness of it today. The same was true with the infinity symbol, of which I found no sign during my research in 2011. And I looked everywhere. I looked in bookstores. I looked in woo-woo shops. I looked in logos. I looked in packaging. It was not anywhere. Then in January 2012, infinity signs suddenly started showing up in popular culture and grew in presence until today. That symbol is virtually everywhere in jewelry, packaging, and logos. And it's the most popular female tattoo. Such is the way of collective consciousness. And I'll just read one more sentence. As a species, we have been tapping into something important with that symbol, though most people do not mentally understand why. I mention this because to attempt to communicate something new in spirituality has not only been a lonely journey, but at times almost felt too grandiose, with my inner critic questioning, who do you think you are anyway? Yet regardless of my insecurities and turmoil, guidance kept pushing me forward. So that's true. And Jan wants to say something.
Yeah, I'm so glad. It makes sense the universe said go to that page, because earlier when you were speaking, Hope, I was remembering how when that wave came in, it wasn't anywhere. And then all of a sudden it started to be everywhere. I remember I was in Northampton. I sent you a picture of my shoes because I had looked down and in the sidewalk, there was an infinity wave. But also, I just want to remind people that as we shift with the precession of the equinoxes, the primary symbol of the era, which is a 2,600-year era progression, begins to show itself. So back in the day when we were in the age of Taurus, the bull was very present in iconography. When we were in the time of Leo, the lion, that's when the Sphinx was, came to be. And we're now leading into, we're leading out of Pisces, which was the fish symbol, and we're in Aquarius, which is a wave. And so this is the other part, this idea of transformational conscious evolution, and that we are a co-creator of that. And that's, now that we have the technology, we know how to do it. So I'm really appreciate the universe coming back to that symbol. It's so important.
Thank you for that. And you're right, because this wave thing, even though, you know, I put it in a symbol here, and it's actually a much bigger thing. And I talk about it at the end of the book, the discovery that I made in May 2012 about a galactic wave. That is something that was taken, a photograph was taken by NASA at that time. You cannot find the photo anymore, but it's in my book, of a burst in galactic center. And when you look at the side of the galaxy, when you look at the galaxy from the front, it's a spiral, right? But when you take that spiral and you turn it on its side, it looks like a bunch of little lights, right? Like a flat pancake with a bunch of little lights. So imagine looking at the galaxy like that, and there's a purple, I'm not kidding you, purple bubble on top and a purple bubble on the bottom, making a purple 8. And that was a picture taken in 2010, November 2010, the first time NASA could pierce the clouds in the galaxy to get all the way through to galactic center. And what do they find but this purple bubble figure 8 thing? Turns out that it is a microwave burst that happens periodically from galactic center. And there's evidence of this in the galaxy and on our planet. It heats everything up on its way. It turns yellow suns into red dwarfs and red dwarfs into brown giants. It's like a microwave energy. And this is the push of evolution that they're talking about. They sent it to me in the form of a big wave, a water wave, but it's an actual wave that has been moving through the galaxy. We're on the very edge of the galaxy. So we're getting increasing, it's not, you know, it comes like like waves on the shore, up and down, up and down. So we're getting increasing strength of these waves. When we can remember that that is the reason that we're here, the reason that we chose to be here at this pivotal time, and during this push of evolution to be the co-creators that Jan is talking about and that's in the book, that's why we're here. And if we can get on that train and stay on that train and stay on it in love and compassion, we will create a new Earth that is at a different level energetically. So that's why it's here.
And can I just say one more thing? It's like trying to plug a 220 volt into a 120 outlet. And so the wave gears us up to 220 so that we can hold that energy and reflect it and create with it and not get fried.
You know, this isn't a journey done by oneself. I said in the book, it was a lonely journey, but I had Jan. I always had Jan, at least. And I will say, there are many times when I could not have gone forward without you, my friend. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. She's the one who said, you got to be doing more of this. Like she was. Anyway, it takes a village. What can I say? Love you. All right. Now we have about a half an hour left. I thought it might be fun to take some dowsing questions from the crowd. Does anybody have a question they would like to ask? And I'll do my level best to answer. So maybe I should just think of something. It doesn't have to be a big something. It can be a little something. Anybody? No questions?
I do, Hope.
Oh, good.
Hope, I have one for you, Dowsing.
Excellent, Jillian.
When I went really inside to the gut of the heart, I asked for something, and within a half an hour, I got 2 visions, and the next day I got a 3rd one. And I am wondering whether this is a good time to go to the next step with these.
Okay, so let's do this. So for anybody who's a dowser, you know that and for those who don't know, I'm just going to say, can I, may I, should I? Always want permission. And so, Julianne, before we start, let's wave one another so we can get in the same realm. All righty. Okay, so let's be clear about this. You're asking if this is the right time for you to go to the next step with what?
With the blessings of the 3 visions I got regarding what I can do to help planet Earth at this time.
So can we chunk those down to be something specific, like which vision is telling you to do what? Or
the 3 visions are interrelated.
Okay.
They're about the same thing. Is this a good time for me to try to go to a next step with them, to do something about the visions?
But can you tell me what the visions are, or would you rather not share?
I'd rather not share right now.
Okay. So is it in Julianne's highest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual good to, when you say go to the next step, we mean take action, right?
Yes.
To take action on the 3 visions that she has had. Yes, it is.
Thank
To
you.
help planet Earth. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
It is. It is. And it happened so quickly after. I mean, I went to a level inside that probably second time in my life I've gone to that depth. And within within minutes, the first one came, and then within minutes after that, the second one came.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you're definitely on the right track there. They're saying yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Hope.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. I can't wait to hear more about it.
Mm. Good, good.
Anybody else have a question? Can you make it gallery? Let's see, can I do gallery here? Gallery. There. Anybody else have a question? Yeah, Terry.
So Hope, congratulations. And Jim, what a beautiful message you gave. Hi, everybody. Hope, this is a really fun question for the group. I'm curious, since there's such a lovely group of people in your orbit, if you can douse as a soul group, how long this group might be connected to your soul, and where it might be from. This is just a fun question. You know, I know most of us believe in past lives, and I was just curious how long this group might be associated with each other and with you.
Well, first we would have to ask if we have been associated before, right? So we've got 33 people here today, right now. So
and the people in the room where you are physically.
And the people in the room.
Yep, yellow.
The people in the room.
In the peanut gallery.
Peanut gallery. Have all 39 of us been together before? No. Let's find out how many of us have been together before. Okay. How many of us have been together before? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 of us have traveled in the past together.
Who?
But there's another question, and that is me. I don't even know how to ask this question.
Well,
Let me ask
obviously you're connected to everyone here because all these people are here. So as different soul groups, maybe we've overlapped, but maybe the question is, have you, is everyone here connected to you from another time? And this is just for fun. You know what I mean?
Is everybody who is present today, online or in person, somebody who has been connected to me before this lifetime? No.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, some we have found each other this time around. So that's good. I'm happy.
That was fun.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay. I think what we should do, I could take one more question, and then we'll do the channeling meditation, 10 minutes, and then we'll say sayonara. How's that sound? Sound good? Anybody else? One more question?
There was a question in the chat, Hope.
Oh, okay. Can you read it to me, please?
Sure. It's from Super Jules.
Okay.
She says that she's with grandkids but listening. And her question is, what action could I take to more powerfully and successfully connect to the super consciousness to receive my specific divine guidance on the direction I need to take now? So it's an easy one.
No, Super Jules, that's a question that requires a session. Because even though I can answer that, I could probably sit here and try to answer that quickly. When we answer questions, or when I answer questions that are not yes or no questions, and I can do that, it takes us down rabbit holes. And my channel opens, and that's how I know which rabbit holes to go down and which not to go down. So that requires me to go into that state, and I don't think I can do that right here, right now. But it's a really good question, and if you like to have a session, I'd be happy to explore it with you. We can definitely find some things out.
And then Barbara said she had an easy question.
Okay, Barbara.
A quick question. Question. Okay, it's very specific. Is Marilyn the right person to represent my story for film?
Is is Marilyn the right person for Barbara to use to represent her book for film? Well, Barbara, I get a 50%. So let's find out. Is it in Barbara's highest physical good to use Marilyn? 50. Is it in her highest mental good? 50. Emotional good? 50. Spiritual good? 50. Let me just listen for a minute. Barb, the word that's coming through, and I'm, again, I'd rather do this privately, but it doesn't feel like there's a strong connection. There's a willingness, but maybe can only go so far.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
it? That's it? Okay. Okay, good. Is there somebody else you wanted to ask about?
Yeah. Yes, actually.
Okay.
Is Jonelle it's a really hard question to ask. Should Jonelle be connected to the project?
Is it in Barbara's highest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual good to have Jonelle connected to her film project? I get a 50% again. Is it in her highest physical good? No. Is she expensive? It's not in your highest physical good. Is it in Barbara's highest mental good? No. Is it in her highest emotional good? Yes. Spiritual good? Yes. Oh, so you've got to weigh the physical emotional part, which is going to be a drag of some sort, and the emotional spiritual, like on some, you're connecting on that level, but the realities of how that's going to play out might be different.
Okay.
Now, here's the follow-up question though. Is there anything that can be done about that? Yes. Are there remedies that can be put in place? Are there communications? Are there ways? So if the emotional spiritual piece is strong enough, then you'll want to figure out what those remedies are so that you can bring it into balance and reality.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Good.
Okay.
Good. All right. So that's a little taste of what we do in a session, and it's super fun. We learn a lot. Alan.
Yeah. Is there a relationship between the wave and dowsing? How do you integrate the two pieces of your work?
That's a really good question. Well, I already told the story about finding out what the wave was really about through dowsing. Thank goodness I had this tool, and I already had a lot of language with it so that I could understand. To me, being me, they go
As far as
yeah. What? To me, they're
no, I
very
just said it as far as healing. Okay, being yes.
Yeah, to me, they go hand in hand. To do dowsing, you need to be in a state of flow. You need to be well hydrated, and you need to be connected to source energy of some sort, even if it could be your guide team. It could be a planet. I mean, people connect to different things for their information. But for me, I connect to the universe, and so I have a wavy relationship with the universe. So it's all of a piece for me. I think one of the beautiful things about the wave is it can help us in this physical world to shift reality, but it's also a fantastic connection tool to source. And Susan is a beautiful artist and has drawn incredible images. She sketched the wave connecting her above, like there. I would have put all her drawings in the book, but I had to just choose which direction I was going to go. But Susan has shown this wavy connection where we can one of the things in the book that I talk about is going direct. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need me. You don't need anybody. We all have the blueprint to have this direct connection. And the wave lubricates that. You just start, waving yourself, waving down into the earth, waving up into the heavens, and it just lays a track. And information can come down through the water. It just opens the field beautifully. So, and that's the same thing I do in dowsing. So it's a really good question, Alan. To me, they go hand in hand.
Right. No, thank you. It explains. Yeah. Are we going to wave to each other in the world today, or what are you going to do in meditation now?
We're gonna wave before we do the meditation. So this is what we've started to do. Now I'm going to just ask, is there anything anybody else wants to say? Because from here on out, there's not going to be an opportunity to do so. Once we do the meditation, people are usually in an altered state and don't be driving. And we won't want to be, we won't be in our left brains and be able to ask questions. Okay. So, I'm just seeing so many people here today, Peter and Lisa. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hi. I'm I don't want to take time, but I so grateful to all of you. Deborah's there. Anyway,
Hey, Hope.
so yeah.
It's Mindy. I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful for you to bring this information to the world. I know everybody on here and all those that don't even know that it's coming for them yet are so grateful. I'm sending you the biggest hug, girlfriend. We're all celebrating your success and your joy, and we're we're just honored to be in support of you. Thank you for doing this for all of us.
Mindy, thank you. Thank you. You've been
Mwah.
such a light and such a help. And it's your birthday today, and here you are with me, and with us. So, no, people long list of people I could not have done this without. So, thank you, my dear. Thank you. You're a light. Okay, so what we're going to do is put this in gallery, and and we're all going to practice doing the wave. And how do we do that? We just imagine, and by imagining, we invoke, right? We start to change reality. We start to change the molecules. We imagine this figure 8 made of flowing water, and we imagine it from our heart center going out to the person in the frame that you see in the gallery, into their heart center. And you just let the water flow between you. Now, if you're just getting started, you might want to use your fingers to trace it. That's totally fine. And you may start to notice a little shift in your being. And we're just in observation, right? We're not just allow yourself to be in a don't know mind state, just observing. I like to have eyes open when we wave one another. It's a way of saying, I see you in love and compassion. I see you in this love and compassion. And of course, that love and compassion is coming back to you. Isn't that clever? So what I'd usually do is do one deep breath in, one out per person, because we've got 2 pages. It might take us a little bit of time, but it'll go by really, really fast. Alan, come on so we can wave you, buddy. And as soon as that is done, Jenny, I'll just say, okay to go with the music, all right? And we'll go right into the meditation. Oh my God.
Just want to send my love to you.
Oh, there's Gary.
There's Gary.
I just got here. I just got able to get on. I've been trying to get on the plane for an hour and a half. So if I didn't want to interrupt, but I did want to miss out on the opportunity of blessing this extraordinary day and wishing you nothing but the best, honey.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. I'm glad you made it. You made it in time for the meditation. I already talked about your beautiful music and you and all kinds of things. So that's on the recording. You'll see it. Thank you, honey. Lots of love. All right. Here we go. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Open your eyes, receive the person. Okay. Let's settle in and see what wants to happen. Dear ones gathered here. You may think that this is the group of souls visible only on planet Earth. But there is much rejoicing here on the other side. For a word that has wanted to be spoken for a long time is finally spoken. Did you know that love is flow? Flow is love. When you are in the flow, as you say, you are riding the current of nothing other than love. It is when you feel your best. It is when you feel most connected to something bigger than yourself. This loving flow wishes to buoy you in your life every second of every day. We have waited for this connection to be made, for the people all across the world to understand the simplicity that being in flow is. And now there is a tool for that, a tool that we delivered. Thank you to all who are willing to listen, who are willing to learn. We wish for you to know that you are not alone, that there are multitudes supporting your exploration with them. By simply putting yourself in a wave form, you flip the switch out of resistance and into an openness and a field that is vast. And beautiful, and wants to work with you. We now are waving you. We are blessing you with love and offering our constant support as you go through choppy waters that are ahead. As we said from the very beginning, you are the beacon. You are the light. And you will be called upon to use that light. Support yourself in this flow of love at all times. Imagine this infinity in your hearts right now, blessing you with love and compassion for all you do and all you have done. And let that continue to run indefinitely. That is all we have to say to you today, dear one. And we send you off into the world with that love and compassion deep in your heart.
Hmm. Thank you, Hope. Beautiful. You know what I got from that meditation is that the wave is an initiation that we can give to each other of love, the kind of action of love. That's what I just got from doing that with you. So thank you.
Beautiful, Alan. Thank you. That's a beautiful way to express it. Beautiful way to express it.
Anyone, any other comments from people or anything else?
Only if they wish. I realize I'm a little over time, so I don't want to.
Okay, we have all the time in the world.
Okay.
But is that anyone else have something to say, to share, experience?
I just want to say thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you, Susan. Love you.
Love you too. Love you all.
Yeah. You know, Hope, I just also want to say that bringing the book out into the world makes it manifest. It's no longer an idea of just that kind of mental communication, but it's actually become substantial in some way. That's what I feel.
You're right. And that's what was holding me back all those years. I was still a little bit safe while it was an idea, but now it's real. It's okay. Yes. I'm a big girl. I can handle it, and I have to be who I am. So there you go. Anyway, I want to thank all of you. I see Chris there, some people I haven't seen in a while, and I just so nice to be with you and have you share this experience with me. This is a big freaking day, and Jan Goldstoff is here, who was very lovely and helped me in the early days of being in New York, and Sherry B is here, constant person, always there at the ready on our meditations, and no matter what we do, doing transcriptions, all kinds of things. I just want to make sure I've Marag, I didn't say hi to before. Hello, Marag. And I think I've said hi to everybody else. Brian is here, a new friend. Nice to see you. Miriam is here. Hello, Miriam. And yeah, I think and Fiona got in. Hi from Australia. Anyway, we'll wrap it up now. And
wait, before you wrap it up, Hope, just tell us how to join your weekly channels, how to get to your newsletter, all that.
Okay, it's spreadinfinitehope.com. And I know that they put the book link in many times.
Yes.
So today's the day to buy it. It's less expensive today. And proceeds, a big chunk of the proceeds are going to the children in Nepal. I'm so excited about that. So, buy one for yourself and then buy one for a friend. And that way, at least one book's worth goes to them.
And when are your weekly channelings? Is that open to the public?
Oh, yeah. Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern. And yeah, those are one Monday night a month. I do a private channeling group, which anybody can join. It just costs a little money, but the other things are free. And at the beginning of every month, I do a longer meeting called the Infinity Circle. There's a channeling in that too, but I go over the astrology for the month and get an overview of what we should be looking at and working with.
So how do we join that? How do people join?
Just get on spreadinfinitehope.com. You'll get my emails. I give you plenty of warning, and you can, it's easy peasy.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
It was an honor to host you on this channel, actually. Thank you.
I give you a big hug, brother.
I feel that wave coming through me. Thanks. I'm waving back at you.
I'm waving you too. Lots and
Thanks
lots.
for proving me wrong, buddy.
It's not the first time. Anyway, I'm sorry, couldn't help myself. All right, let's say goodbye, and until the next time. And next time I won't have eye infections. So,
Just a lot of tears wanting to come out.
that's right. That's right.
Love you, Hope. Love you, Jim. Love to everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Miss
Thank
Hope, will
you.
there be a replay? I just came out of a meeting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right.
You
I
can look at the replay.
on Amazon. You know, I woke Amazon up this morning.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
The replay's also on YouTube under New Realities, and I think you're going to post it too, Hope, right? On your
Yeah.
channel?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And Mindy
Great.
will do it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Hope. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.